Welcome back. This is Jennifer McGuire with day 2 of my favorite crafty things 2016. Today we are focusing on my favorite dies of the year and die cutting essentials. And day 1 I focused on stamps, so today it's all about dies. Now this is the first video where I just focus on the dies themselves. In the second video that I will share today, I'm going to talk about the tools or the essential tools for doing some good die cutting. And remember that throughout this series, I'll have discount codes and giveaways over on my blog, so be sure to head over there. Okay, so let's dive into the favorite dies of this year. I am a big fan of die cutting, and especially of word dies. It's a great way to add a sentiment to a card, and you don't need a smooth spot to add it. You can just glue it on top. The first one I wanted to share with you is Simon Says Stamp Thankful. They actually have this style in the word thankful, grateful, and delightful. Thankful is my favorite because it's just a unique way to say thanks. I like that it's this beautiful, intricate word die, and the shadow is available in the set too. So both dies come together. And you can see how it fits nicely on the front of a typical card. So that white piece that I share throughout this video is a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card. So you can kind of see how these fit on a card. Another thanks die that I like is from Sugar Pea Designs. I've been using this one a lot, and I'll be sharing in future videos. And by the way, I do a lot of thank you cards. That's why I'm recommending a few thanks dies. So there you can see the card the die cut in action on 2 cards. Here we have My Favorite Things, Twice the Thanks. This is a beautiful font. It's very detailed, very thin, and it has thanks, thank, and you. So you could use the you by itself, or you can team it up with the thank. This fits perfectly with the Kind Thanks stamp set that I shared in day 1 of this series. You can see they're the exact same size. You can use them together or separate, and I just think these are beautiful and classy. Next, we have Sugar Pea Design Celebration. So I find that I'm sending more and more celebrate cards just to celebrate everyday happinesses that people may have. So celebrating, accomplishment at work or accomplishment as a mom. This die is great for that. I also think it's good to have a good hello die in your stash. This one from Impression Obsession, that's a hard one to say, is just very clean, and I just love the look of it. You can see how it looks on a card here. It teams up nicely with the sentiment stamped right underneath it. Now, papertrey ink has some of the best designs in the industry, and I really like this thinking of you sentiment. You can see how it fills a card quite nicely. I think it'd be beautiful to do just a foil sentiment over maybe a watercolor background. And they have a few other sentiments in this style if you're looking for that. Next is the reverse confetti greetings frame. Now this is a new one. I just gave a card to a friend where I stamped warm above it, so it said warm greetings. I like that it has the greetings word, but then also has the little strip that you can stamp a sentiment on, and this frame that you can use around the card. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 kind of stamp set where you get a few things out of it. I think it'd be fun to use the frame to emboss onto a card front, and then you can use the sentiment all year round. Now, if you're looking for one die set that pretty much covers all the bases, the best one for that is the Avery Elle, A Tag for All. So it cuts this tag shape that is 4 1/4 by 5.5, so you can create a card out of it, but it also creates a bunch of words. Now, all of these words can be used on a variety of cards, and you can mix and match them. The size is beautiful, the font is beautiful, so you can get love you, miss you, for you, happy birthday, and best wishes, and XOXO, all from this one die set. So if you're looking for one set to kind of cover everything, this might be a good option for you. And by the way, when there's a bunch of words that are kind of hard to read on the dies in the package, I like to type on my label what words are included in the set, so I don't have to go fishing through the little envelope to see. That seems to be helpful for me. Now, this is a great die set from Fawn. It's called Small Stitched Envelope. So you get this envelope here, which I'll show you in a moment, but inside are 3 great word sentiments. There is enjoy, just a note, and thanks, and then some adorable heart dies. So I encourage you to look at dies like this that don't seem to be really a sentiment die set, but rather just have some sentiments in it, because these often offer a lot. So here is the little envelope. It holds a gift card perfectly. This is great for the holiday season. You just put the gift card inside. You don't have to glue it in, just tuck it in there. Fold it closed. You can put a little sticker or a seal on that. And then there's this little tag that is great to decorate, to add to it also. You could even stick this on the front of a card. Now the word dies in here I actually store separately with all my other word dies. You can see how intricate and thin the thanks and joy and just a note are. I think just a note is something a little bit unique. There aren't many word dies out there like that. And check out those adorable little hearts. So this is another die set that really has a lot to offer. And I think those sentiments are perfect because they're nice and thin. Not many word dies cut that thin. Now I think it's fun to have an alphabet die set too, and this one from Neat and Tangled is so much fun. I like the size of it. They're nice and large, so you can make a personalized card or create any greeting you want. You can see the size there. This is actually really fun to cut out of craft foam, so you get some dimension to it. And in fact, you can cut them out of craft foam, glue them temporarily to an acrylic block, and use them as stamps too. So you can get a lot out of your die cuts, especially alphabet die cuts. Okay, so now let's talk about background dies. Now background dies cost more. They're kind of an investment because they are so large, but there are so many things you can do with them, and you can make a simple card very quick and have a lot of interest. Now my favorite from the year is the Essentials by Elle stitched background. This is so gorgeous. Now you can see the die covers a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch note card. And look at the faux stitching it does. Just one pass through your die cut machine. It doesn't actually cut, it just creates those faux stitching lines. Beautiful on a background. And you can use it with an embossing pad, which I'll show in my second video, for an impressed look also. I also really like the Hero Arts Circle Confetti. Now this die is a little bit different. You can see there's a cutting edge around it. So it cuts a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece with all this little confetti cut out. So you can use it for a card background or use the confetti that it cuts in a shaker card. Now here's an example that I created where I just cut it and glued it onto a card front, just flat onto the card, for a little bit of interest in the background on this simple card. Now you would think that this might work best with snow, but you could use it throughout the year. It's just an interesting background to have on a simple card. Now a similar die also from Hero Arts is the Star Confetti. Again, this cuts a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece with stars cut out of the center. It's perfectly sized. Now these stars are fun to add onto a project, or you can use the negative space for a background like I did here. In this case, I used some craft foam to kind of pop it up so there's some shadow dimension behind it. Whereas on the Circle Confetti one on the right, I just glued it straight down onto white cardstock. Now here are 2 examples I created. These will be in a video very soon. But isn't that background so wonderful? You can also impress with this background if you wanted to. And all those little stars, remember you can use as little embellishments on your card or inside of maybe a shaker box. A lot of things you can do with it. My favorite things, Peekaboo Dots background is also fun. Now this does not cut around the edge. It just cuts the little circles in the center of a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece. I think this is fun and works with a lot of styles. The dots are big enough you could stamp little things in it if you wanted to. You could also create a stencil from it. And in fact, I created a video a few months back with this exact same background die showing 5 different ways you can use it. So I encourage you to check out that video. I'll link to it below. You can also do a search on my blog to find it. There are many things you can do with these background dies. Next, we have a newer die from Neat and Tangled called the Star Cover Plate. I just like how intricate this is. I think this could be used all year round with a variety of styles. It'd be beautiful with a die cut inlay or just a tone on tone like you see here for a simple white background. Now this one also you could be used for like an impression on a card with an embossing pad, or you can do maybe like a watercolor wash and just put this on top for a quick and simple card. I also think this would be a great one to create your own stencils from. You can also kind of cut your own shapes out of this, so not use the whole background, but just cut out parts for a fun geometric background. Another favorite from this year that I really love is the Little Inker Diamond Lace. So this cuts from a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece perfectly. It creates all these little dots. Now I actually have cut this from felt before and done lots of stitching on it, and I gave that as a little gift. It was like a little pocket that I created, but it's beautiful for a card background. You could cut patterns from this or strips from this, but really just a white on white is gorgeous. You can also put a color cardstock behind it so that the color peeks through like I'm doing here with this dark gray. I really like to invest in background dyes because they quickly make your card interesting without much effort. So if you're like me and you mass produce a lot of cards and like to color on the go, all you need to is color and cut out some stamped images and put it right on these backgrounds for a fun card. Another one is the reverse confetti all framed up die. Now this actually cuts up pieces. It cuts up a bunch of frames, but I included it in background dies because you could leave them all together for a nice background. You could just glue them all right together on a card. Or you can separate them as I did here, and a lot of these actually have some faux stitching on them. So you have a lot of different options of frames with that faux stitching. You can also just use 1 or 2 on a card. You can create a fun background with them, and it's a good size. The biggest one is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. There you can see some of the stitching. Now in this example, I used an embossing pad and I impressed all those dies in a background, and look how beautiful that background is. On both sides, it's gorgeous. Simple background for this. All I have to do is stick this onto a card and I'm ready to go. You can see that this one's worth the investment because there are many ways you can use it. Okay, now next I wanted to talk about the layering dies from Birch Press. Now these are 3 background dies that are sold together, so the price point is higher. However, this would be a great Christmas gift. So there are 3 backgrounds. They can be used separately or together. In fact, I think they're sold separately also, but when they're used together, they are amazing. So here is one of the sets. This one's called Dazzle, and I think it's my favorite. It actually cuts a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece with the pattern inside. And I'm showing you the 3 different patterns that the 3 different dies do. So you can definitely use these separately if you wanted to. But the fun comes when you stack the 3 on top of each other. It really doesn't add much bulk. You don't need to do craft foam or foam adhesive between the layers. And look how beautiful this is. I did like 3 shades of a pool color with a white background. You could do a darker background behind it. You could use this in so many different ways. So you can get really colorful and have some fun patterns going on in the background. But what I really like is when you do each of the layers out of white. So you just get a dimensional looking background. So here's one example that I did. It allows you to keep your card very simple. You can do your stamping and die cutting and coloring maybe on the go, and then just go back and add it to one of these backgrounds, and it is stunning. So you can see how it catches the light beautifully. These are just all done with white cardstock. And you can see when I tilt this, it's not very thick. It's not like it's going to be super heavy. You could do a lighter weight cardstock if you wanted to make it thinner. And all I need to do is glue these onto a card. Another, I mentioned there are several of these layering dies from Birch Press. I'm mentioning my 3 favorites here today. The last one was Dazzle. Now this one's called Delfina, and you can see what the 3 layers do individually. By the way, Birch Press is owned by the folks who do Poppy Stamps and Memory Box. They're all kind of together. So these are the best of the best dies. I've always found that Memory Box makes some of the classiest card designs, and these are some good examples. So there you can see the layering with different colors and even with a dark background. So you could change this up to be a little more playful by using playful colors, or even like more classic by using all white, or maybe using some golds or silvers only. Here it is on an example where I did a all white background, and I just put a fun and playful stamped image on it. And again, because you're buying 3 background dies in the set, the price point is higher, but hey, it's Christmas time. This might be a time to ask for something that you normally wouldn't buy, and you can get many uses out of these backgrounds because they can be used separately and together. You can see this one is a beautiful die just by itself. So when you layer these together, this is the Sevilla, I believe it is, background. Look how intricate that is. Absolutely gorgeous. This would be great with just a sentiment word, maybe die cut across it. You can keep it very simple. You can maybe spray some shimmer spray on it to even add more interest and some shine to it. And here is an example that I did with just white on white for a simple holiday card. And again, there are some other patterns of this, like a honeycomb, dot, and square pattern that you can check out too. Okay, so now it's time for must-have dies or essential dies that are good to have for a variety of cards. First up, we have the Hero Arts Infinity Circle die set. Now this set has pretty much all the size circles that you need. Before, you would have to buy multiple sets to get all of these sizes, so this is a great set and the price point is fantastic. Now I have a bunch of my circle dies taped together here. You can just pull them apart. I did that myself because I was doing a technique with them together. But I have a magnetic magnetic piece of paper in here that holds all these dies. And you can see how you could get everything out of this one set with a great price. There are 18 dies in the set. The biggest one is 4.5 inches in diameter. It goes all the way down to the tiniest. So you can really get a lot of bang for your buck out of this. Along the same lines, we have the Hero Arts Rectangle Infinity die set. The biggest one cuts 4.25 by 5.5, which is the size of a note card on the front. And then you have all the sizes in between, all in one set. Now, you may wonder, why would I need rectangle dies when I can just simply cut a rectangle? They are very helpful if you want to create a window on the front of a card or a shaker card window. Many ways that you can use them. So if you're looking for the basic shape dies, I recommend those. Now from Memory Box, there are the straight stitches dies. There are 3 dies in this set, and you can see it does this like faux stitching. I just did a bunch on this background here. It does a nice faux stitching. One is long enough to stretch along the length of a card. Another is long enough for the width of a card, and another is a little bit smaller than that. So you can do faux stitching maybe around the outside edges of a card. You could do diagonal lines. You could do like a faux stitch window on a card. I like the flexibility of having these border dies so I can do them in any direction I want. Along the same lines, but with a little more interest to it, is the Essentials by Elle Stitching Lines border set. So I have mine taped together. That I did that for a technique video, but you can take each of these apart, and each offers a faux stitching look. Remember that background that I showed you before? This is the same thing, but in border dies. You could tape these together and do it repeatedly to create your own background if you just wanted to get the one set. Now we have the Sunny Studio Stitched Hearts. I use hearts a lot on my cards. You can do a fun background, just put a heart on the front and then a sentiment across it. This is a good set because it does the faux stitching around it. And there are 3 large hearts in the die set. They also include some fun smaller hearts too that are perfectly shaped, so they're great to accent on the card also. Now the largest heart is huge. It's like 4.5 inches across. So you can create a card out of it if you wanted to, a heart-shaped card, or you can kind of have it off center on the front of a regular card. Now I like to scatter embellishments on my card for some little fun. Sometimes sequins or enamel dots are too bulky, so I like to create my own out of small die cuts. This heart set is fantastic because it cuts solid hearts and outline hearts. It's from Simon Says Stamp. Another one fun for accenting a card is Neat and Tangled's Lucky Star. It cuts a bunch of little stars as you see here. Some are individual and some are connected together to save you time, so you can scatter those on the front of a card also. And if you want to give them a little bit of dimension, all you have to do is put some glossy accents on top, and all of a sudden you have your own DIY embellishments. Another must-have die that I think is really fun, and a lot of people have been using this one, is the My Favorite Things Peekaboo window. It cuts a window in the front of your panel with 2 faux stitch lines around each side that overlap in the corners. It's just beautiful. So you can create a window for the front of your card, you can create a shaker card from this, or even just stamp, color, and cut out a cute little critter and have it peek out from this. It's just a nice finishing touch that's very easy to do because all you have to do is run it through your die cut machine one time, and it creates the window and the faux stitching. Now earlier I mentioned some basic circle and rectangle stacking die shapes. If you're looking with something with a little more interest, I recommend Lawn Fawn's dotted stackables. They come in circles, rectangles, and squares. I really like the circles personally. Now they have 2 sets. There are the large dotted rectangle stackables on the left and the small on the right. But if you get both sets, you can use them together, and check it out. You have pretty much every size circle you could need for a card. Now these cut the circles and also put tiny little dots on the inside edge of the cutting edge. The largest circle is about 4 inches in diameter. So these add a little more interest to your die cut pieces because it offers those tiny little dots on the inside cutting edge. These are the rectangles, the large sets on the right and the small sets on the left. The largest set actually cuts a 4.25 by 5.5 inch piece with the dots on the inside edge. Then there, of course, are the rectangles. So to get all the sizes, you need to buy the large and the small stacking sets. But these are really nice. I like the sizing of them, and they're very good quality. The squares are fun to create a little stacked kind of matte piece for a stamped image like you see here. Another set from Lawn Fawn that is really fun for interactive cards is the everyday pop-ups. You can see there are a bunch of dies in this set. Now let me show you what they create. They create these little stair steps inside of a card, and all you have to do is glue like a stamped image or a die cut onto the stair step so it pops up when you open the card. And it cuts all these different sizes and heights from this one die set. So basically what you do is you take a die and you line it up where you're going to have the folded edge on your card. So there's these little arrows that stick out the side so you know exactly where to line them up, and you tape it in place. Then you run it through your die cut machine. Now I have already scored that line. It's best to not actually score and fold that line first, just draw a pencil line and then score it and fold it afterwards. It just helps with the card, but you can see it works fine doing this also. Then you just press this stair step in and just kind of fold it down, and there you have a little step inside of your card. All you want to do is kind of glue a folded piece around the outside so you don't see it from the outside, and when the person opens up the card, they have this fun pop-up. So now you can glue something either on the top of your stair step or on the front of it. First, let me show you if you glue it to the top of the stair step, like this little square die cut. When you open up the card, it just kind of pops up this little flat spot. You could do a stamped image there or write your greeting on it if you wanted to. You could also instead glue on the front of the little stair step. This way you could maybe die cut a cute little critter so that when you open it up, he's standing inside. You can do a whole scene in there. Lawn Fawn has a bunch of different options, but this is a good basic pop-up die set. Now, I got this image from a video that my friend Kelly Marie, who's the owner of Lawn Fawn, created. She said I could share it. Be sure to go to their blog. They have a lot of examples using these pop-up dies, and I'll have a video coming up very soon too. I really have a lot of fun with these, and my kids love them. Another interactive die set from Lawn Fawn is called the Slide On Over dies. Now, I don't have the dies because my friend's borrowing them, but what you do is you use these dies to create slots where you can have little characters kind of moving across the front of a card. So in this example here, this is from the Lawn Fawn blog. Kelly Marie said that I could share some examples here. You can see how the little dog starts on one side of the card, and when you tilt the card, it moves to the other side of the card. These slide on over dies allow you to create these interactive cards very easily, and you can check out their blog for some examples. But I also have a video with one of these coming up very soon also. They're very easy to make and make your card a little more interactive and fun. Next, let's move on to other dies that caught my attention this year. There were so many to choose from, but I decided to go with some that could be used in many different ways. First, we have the Neat and Tangled Stitched Sunburst die set. There are two dies in this. One actually cuts a sunburst shape. The other one cuts like faux stitching in a sunburst on a card. So you can see the two here. I think it'd be fun to do the faux stitch sunburst repeatedly on the back of a card. It kind of looks like fireworks. Or you can do the stitching onto the sunburst die cut itself, so you can use them together. I make a lot of sending you sunshine and thanks for brightening my day cards for blog readers, so I've been using these quite a bit, and I'll share some of those in a video. Next, we have the most unique dies of the year, the Hugs card dies from Concord and Ninth, and there's also the Thanks that you can see to the left. So you basically cut these on the edge of some cardstock, fold it up, and you have like this interlocking Hugs message like you see here. I have a video showing exactly how to use these dies, and I'll link to them. And now Concord and Ninth has come out with the Thanks dies too. Very unique way to make an interactive card. And you could also just die cut these from cardstock, trim off those lines, and use the letters to create a hug sentiment and the thanks sentiment. Many ways you can use them. Next, we have the Simon Says Stamp Stacked Stars die. Now, last year, the Stacked Hearts was on my favorites list. This year, we have the stars. So it's a great kind of backdrop on a card, or you can use the tiny little stars to kind of decorate the front of a card. Die cut inlay would be fun for this. Here's an example that I did on my YouTube channel where I kind of created a panel that was see-through using the Stacked Stars die. It also would be just a great simple background for a birthday or celebration card. Next, we have the Memory Box Countryside Circle die. I love this guy. I used him to create this card that has a die cut inlay. I shared this in a video recently, but it'd be also great for cutting a simple shaker window. Now, I used it for a winter scene, but you could use the same die for any season. Just as a simple classic design, great for a lot of techniques. Now, another really creative die set from Concord and Ninth is Friend Like You. One cuts the words and the other cuts like brackets that fit above and below the words. Now, I just use the words themselves to really quickly cut this card front. It's a great message that's encouraging for just about anyone, and just one run through your die cut machine cuts all those letters. So I have a video where I created several different stenciled backgrounds using this die. It's beautiful. Next is the My Favorite Things Simply Snowflakes die set. Now I included this because they are beautiful. There are many dies in the set. They cut all these different snowflakes that you see here, and they're very intricate, just gorgeous. Great for a quick holiday card. You could do foiling on these die cuts and they'd just be beautiful. Cut it from glitter paper. The dies actually also create little dots, so it kind of pierces little dots on some of the snowflakes. Just so beautiful and intricate. I don't know that I've seen a die cut set so intricate. And there is a matching stamp set if you're interested in that. Also, you could line them up together or kind of overlap them on a card. Just absolutely classy and elegant. Now for something more fun, we have the Avery Elle balloon letters. Now what I like about these balloon letters is you don't need a stamp set with them. What you could do is cut these maybe from vellum or from glitter paper, create a bunch of balloons that has a person's name, just tie strings to the bottom of them and just glue them to a card, and you have a great personalized birthday or celebration card. You can do a greeting out of the letters. The die set even includes like the strings if you just want to die cut some strings to hang from them. Lila even made a card for her best friend the other day using these. Now this Papertrey Ink Stitch Tags die set got a working over last year in my house for Christmas cards. So what I did is I die cut some stitch tags from felt. So I cut a bunch from felt, did the stitching around them, put a little apple on the front, and I made little gift card pockets for lots of teachers and friends and people who work at the school. It is fantastic for the holiday season. Next, we have this Simon Says Stamp Plush Bloom dies. This is another that I use a lot at my house. I die cut from felt, bring some thread and needles, and I take these on all my vacations. These flowers that you see here, I created with my friends Heidi Krall, Christina Werner, and Kathy Rakusin on a girls' weekend one time. All we needed was this die set, bunch pieces cut from felt, and some thread and needle, and we made all of these. I made probably about 30 of these, and I have a lot of projects in the works for Christmas gifts coming up soon. It's a great die set. Another from Simon Says Stamp is the Happy Sunshine. I've probably made about 100 sunshines from these, and I send these to blog readers once in a while or to friends as a thank you with a like sending sunshine card that I've made. I put a little heart on the back and Google eyes. Just a lot of fun as like a thinking of you gift. Just something different. You can do it from paper, but I really like to cut these from felt and just add the stitching. I think it's fun to use our dies for things other than paper crafting. Okay, so there you have. I ran as fast as I could through my favorite dies of this year. Be sure to also check out my second video, as I mentioned, that talks about die cutting tools and essentials. I have some fun new ones for you. Also, my blog has a discount code and some big giveaways. Also links to multiple sources of where you can find all the products I mentioned today. I do link them also in my YouTube description below. And be sure to do a search on my blog on the search bar. You can search any of these die names and videos and ideas come up using them. Now in the middle, I have a link to my other die cutting video for today and also my other My Favorite Crafty Things videos in this series. More will be coming up over the next few days. I appreciate you sticking around and watching this long video, and we'll see you again very soon.